Hey, what's up, Bills Mafia? I'm back again today. Before we get started with the NFL preview from the NFC North, I, in my last video, neglected to mention the fact that Cody Ford finally is gone. That worthless piece of lineman, I'm sorry, but that dude was probably, not very many misses um, for Brandon Bean in the draft, but Cody Forward unfortunately was one of them. He just was not good. He never panned out. But I tell you what, for somebody that didn't pan out and really isn't any good, they got a fifth round pick from the Arizona Cardinals. I kind of call that highway robbery. So happy trails to Cody Ford, as well as Matt Hawk. So there's that. So anyway, let's get started with the NFC North. This division has long been the property of the Green Bay Packers. So we're not going to start with the Green Bay Packers because guess what? Aaron freaking Rodgers is coming back. Um, and we'll start with the Minnesota Vikings. Last season they finished 8-9, which was good for second in the division. This is a team that has Justin Jefferson, Adam Thielen, Dalvin Cook, and they only managed to win 8 games last year. They went with the new coach, new general manager. We'll see if they can do any better. They still have Kirk Cousins at quarterback. I've never really been a Kirk Cousins guy. He's one of those guys to me that's, he's gotten a lot of money. He's gotten a lot of money. You can't blame him for that, but he's gotten a lot of money for being a middle of the road guy. Um, you put him in the same categories like a Ryan Tannehill, that kind of guy. Just he can win you some games, but he's never going to take you to the next level. But they stick with him. They don't draft another quarterback. They don't do anything different. And here comes Kirk Cousins. They're going to trot him out again. Um, and Adam Thielen is going to be 32 this year. We'll see if he can continue his production or will he start to decline. Um, I as far as how they're going to do this year, we'll have to see. It's the NFC. They may make the playoffs. Let's see. I've got here that they've got 7 games against playoff teams from last year, and 3 against teams that may make a push for the playoffs this year. So I don't know if they'll make the playoffs. I do know that they've been a middle of the road team. They'll probably be a middle of the road team again. The Detroit Lions, they're a hard one to figure out. They were 3-13 3-13-1 last year, last in the division. They've got Jared Goff at quarterback, and their number one wide receiver had 90 catches last year for 912 yards. A lot of people are like, "Oh, Amon-Ra St. Brown, he's great. He's this, he's that." He averaged 10 yards a reception last year. Yeah, you had 90 catches, but what did you do with it, right? I mean, if you can only average 10 yards a catch and you've got 90 catches, that doesn't give me number one receiver vibes. Um, they drafted Aiden Hutchinson, the Michigan product, uh, in the first round with the number one pick. He's, I guess, good. We'll see how good he can be. I don't know that you can um, make up with one guy for a lack of offense, lack of a quarterback, and another team just like the Minnesota Vikings. You keep trotting out that guy who who Los Angeles dumped on you, and you're gonna keep trotting him out. So, you know, definition of insanity, right? And speaking of insanity, Chicago Bears. The Bears. They stink. They're going to stink again. They lost their number one wide receiver. Their offensive line is a disaster. The defense is just all right. They were in a contract with dispute with their one good player on defense. And, you know, I really feel sorry for Justin Fields. I mean, you get drafted and your team is terrible. Coaching staff gets fired. Now you got a new coaching staff who really doesn't have any, they don't have any ties to you. So now what? They didn't fix their offensive line. They're not good on defense. They're probably headed for the number one overall pick. And Justin Fields' career is probably headed for the dumps. And so we get to the Green Bay Packers. And you want to talk about a team that is just like, okay, we're the best. They're kind of like the Patriots in the AFC East when Tom Brady was with the Patriots. It's like they don't have to do a whole lot to win the division. They're pretty much guaranteed 6 wins, because the rest of the division is so bad and has been so bad for so long that you kind of just, slot them into the number one spot in the division, and maybe they'll make the number one seed like they did last year. The only problem with the Packers is every time they get this number one seed, they don't make the Super Bowl. They haven't made the Super Bowl in a long time. And, I mean, they don't draft a wide receiver in the first round. They didn't again this year. Yeah, Rodgers is back, but guess what? Their number one receiver is gone, Devontae Adams. Fortunately for them, it's not going to make a difference when it comes to the division because you've got Aaron Rodgers, who I can't stand, as I've said before, but he's the best quarterback in the division. He's probably the best quarterback in the NFC. So, second best quarterback in the NFC. There's a guy in Tampa. It's probably a little bit better, at least more accomplished. But, so there's not going to be any competition for them in the division. They'll win the division hands down. I'm calling it now. I don't need to wait until the end of this series to do it. So there's that. But that's it for the NFC North. As always, go Bills.